Hiya lovelies, a big warm welcome. My name's Helen from Lotus Yoga Wellbeing and I'm taking you through your yoga and mobility session number 3. Now you won't need any equipment for your practice in today's session, just a yoga mat, ideally non-slip please. And the focus is going to be your lower body. So we've got focus on tight hips, we're going to work on hip flexors, hip mobility and a little bit of balance and strength. Okay, this should help anybody with any lower back issues as well. Okay, now join me in a warm-up. We're going to have one sun sal A and then we're going to come into sun salutation B with the option of a knee drop in the lunge, but we're going to add a bent high leg. Okay, so I'll cue it when we get there. Trust your hands in the floor. You'll know what I mean when we get there. So we're going to have an empowering, invigorating warm-up to get some blood in these hips. So, short edge of the mat. Prepare your body. Okay, sun sal A. So raise up, big deep breath in. Fold forward. Half lift. Palms down, step it back into high plank. You can drop your knees here for an easier option. If this is the first movement of your day, I highly recommend it. Bend your elbows, lower the chest to the floor. Feet flat, toes together, baby upward dog. Toes tucked under, bottoms up, downward facing dog. Now again, if this is the first movement of your day or you have stiff legs, paddle those feet, walk that downward dog. Take the knees to the opposite side, create lots of movement. Remember, your head below your heart is de-stressing for your body. You're working on arm strength in this downward dog position and trying to relax those legs, get those heels a little bit closer to the floor. Now look forward, step forward, we're back into a half lift. Fold forward, reach down towards the ground. Remember your banders, grip your toes into the floor, engage your pelvic floor, grip your abdominal muscles, raise up. One big deep breath in and heart center and rest. Okay, so sun sal B, a little bit more involvement because we have a left and a right high leg. Okay, so let's start in chair pose, also called lightning bolt pose. Creates fire in the belly and definitely warms up those legs. So squeeze the legs together, bend the knees, sweep the fingers towards the little toes and hold. Tuck that belly under. Well done. Big deep breath in. You can always have a little play around in chair pose. Squeeze your toes into the floor. You can raise your heels, keep the heels down, keep those feet pushing down. Now stand up straight, take a little back bend, and we're sweeping those hands down to the floor. Feet back into a plank. You have an option here to drop the knees, bend the elbows, chaturanga, or all the way to the floor. Upward dog, stay on the knees or push up to the tops of the feet, and then toes tucked under, gap between the ankles, downward facing dog. Well done. Okay, now your right leg, sweep it up towards the ceiling. Now hold it here. Relax that left heel, as close to the mat as it will go. Now this right leg, bend at the knee, heel comes towards the bum and you're creating that little bit of a twist. Lovely on the hip flexor, really stretching the body, take some nice big deep breaths. Right foot forward. Option to drop the left knee to the floor, raise up. If you're staying on the ball of the foot, try and make that leg nice and straight. Raise up, invigorating the body as tall as you can. Big inhale. And then take the hands down. High plank position, down to the floor or chaturanga, upward dog. Toes under, downward dog. We've got the same on the left. So lift the left up to the sky. Relax that right heel to the floor, equal pressure in the hands, and we're going to bend at the knee. You're trying to get that heel to the bum, twist in the hips, breathe. Now step that left foot forward. Drop the right knee here for an option if you need it. If not, push into the ball of that foot. Raise up, strong in the body, guys. Low lunge or high, take a couple of deep breaths. Well done. And hands back down. High plank. Drop the knees here if you wish. Chaturanga or all the way to the floor. Upward dog on the knees or squeezing the legs together. Toe stacked under. This is your last downward dog. Take some nice big deep breaths. Paddle those feet if you still need a little bit of heat in those hamstrings, in the calves. And we finish up in that delightful chair pose. So look forward, step forward, bend the knees, sweep the fingers, tap the tailbone under, you're squeezing your abdominals, and breathe. So your heart rate should have increased a little bit. Big muscle groups in your leg and in your glutes. Now stand up straight and relax. Good work. Okay, so as always, if you feel you need a little bit of an extra warm-up, please repeat some more sun salutations. Okay, so to ensure we have a little bit of movement in our hips, we're just going to have some leg swings. So if you want to hold on to the back of the chair or a wall, then do so. 1 foot down. We're going to do both sides, so it doesn't matter which side. And I just want you to swing forward and back. And then we're on the same side, we're going to come into a move that I call opening and shutting the gate. So again, you can hold on to something if you need to balance. So you're going to take the knee up, out and down. Stay with the knee facing outwards, up, in, and then down, back down to standing. Okay, up, out, down. And just acknowledge if it is you've got any clicks going on. Snap, crackle and pops. One more. Other side, so leg swings to begin with. I always have one hip that makes more noise than the other. Okay, and then opening and shutting the gate on that same side. So you've done the same on both sides. Up, out, down. One more. Good work. Okay, so you should find that you've got a bit more heat in these hips now. We're going to come down to tabletop. If you've got knobbly knees, you might want to have a little extra fold in your yoga mat or have a double thickness. Okay, so I just pull it towards me. You've got an extra fold in your mat. So knees on underneath the hips on that extra layer if you need it, hands underneath. Now we're going to draw a big circle. So imagine you've got a pencil in your belly button. We're going to be drawing a big circle on your mat. So take the bum to the heels, all the way to the side, and then over the front of those fingers. So you should feel this going into the corners of your butt cheeks. So again, we're warming up, gently stretching all of those supportive muscles around your hip bone. Okay, change direction. Well done. Okay, now back to that center position. Now because we're already in this tabletop position, it's ideal time to do a bit of cat-cow, a bit of spinal mobility here. So arch the spine, drop the head, look towards the belly button. And then as you exhale, drop the tummy, look up to the top corner. Reverse arch. Drop the belly and look up. Take it up. And drop. Okay, now back into that neutral spine. Now I'm keeping my knees on the extra layer of yoga mat. I've got very knobbly knees. If you want to straighten out your mat, now's the time to do so. Now take your left foot forward. And you're going to bring that torso up. Okay, so as always, I'm going to give you a couple of options here. So you can see I've got 90 and 90 degrees at my knees here, but we are working on your hip flexor. So I want you to try and push forward as much as possible. So your left foot, just step it forward a touch. You want that knee to always be over the ankle, so you're stretching into that right side. Keep the hips square, so you're looking down the front of your mat. You can support your body on that front knee and just see how far you can go. Now, especially if you've got tight hip flexors, you'll find that your body's going to want to lean forward. But I want you to try and keep your chest up, your spine upright. Well done. Now, just to accentuate this little hip flexor stretch, the opposite, so my right knee is down here, so my right hand comes to my left, and you're going to twist. Take nice deep breaths. Okay, bring the torso back round. Hands back down. If you've got tight hips, you will need to help yourself a little bit here, especially if you are not used to hip openers, okay? In the yoga world, your emotional chakra is within your hips. So we can put it down to emotional stress, or it could just be tight hip flexors, or a bit of both. So we're swapping sides. Right foot forward and lift up. So again, you're starting at that 90 and 90. And then gently sink into that hip flexor as much as your body allows. So step that right foot forward a touch and then sink. Remember, your chest needs to be up high. Take nice deep breaths. And remember, you're never bouncing into a stretch. Your muscles have memories, they have little brains of their own, and you want to elongate and then hold it, and then your muscle remembers where it's going. So take your time. Ideally it's 30 seconds at least. Okay, now opposite hand to knee, create a twist. Take nice deep breaths, sinking into that hip each time. And breathe. Now, especially with tight hip areas, it can feel quite energy invoking. Sometimes not always great energy, but again, remember it's the area of emotional chakra energy. So bear with it, breathe through it and take your time. Okay, bring that arm back round and back into tabletop position. Okay, so we're going to have a little bit of a respite here. We're going to have a child's pose. So you can sit straight back on your heels. I prefer to have a wide kneed position. So take those knees to the long edge of the mat, bottom on your feet. Now here the emphasis is recovery for the hips. So you can put your forearms down, don't worry too much about the shoulders. But if you want to stretch into those shoulders as well, push the arms forward, chest and chin. Back into tabletop. Now since we're in this position, to have an easy transition, we're going to come into a modification of a lizard pose. So back onto your left side, take your left foot forward. Okay, so our hands are still on the floor and your left knee is next to your left hand. Now this bent right leg, okay, we are going to slowly take it back. It does mean you're dropping into the hip on the left, take it steady. So just push that leg back as much as is comfortable. You're supporting your chest on your hands. So this is the modification, keeping your chest up high. If you want to go deeper into your lizard pose, you're going to aim to get your forearms on the floor. So your palms will come forward and you can start to bend at the elbows, both arms the same. You may or may not get your forearms down, but remember, it's just a journey. We're all on different stages of this journey. Listen to your body. So whatever stage you are at, either supporting underneath the chest, having your hands forward, or you might have your forearms on the floor. Take one more big deep breath. This is superb for tight hips. Okay, hands back in line with that left leg. Sweep it back into tabletop, adjust that right knee. Okay, we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So your right foot comes forward. So you're supporting your chest. And then you're going to slide the left back as much as your body allows, dropping into the opposite hip. So nice and slow, take it steady. Walk the hands forward if you want to try going deeper. And this is a really good asana to assess if your hips are balanced. We've all got a leading leg. So it might be that one leg is a little bit more flexible than the other. Bend the forearms if you can. Bring those hands back in line with the foot. Back into tabletop. Okay. Now, we need to take out the crease, because if you do a downward dog with a crease in the center of your mat, you end up doing involuntary face plant. So just take the crease out, tuck the toes under, bottoms up, downward dog. Look forward, step forward, and slowly stand. Awesome. Well done. Okay. So hopefully now your hips are definitely warm, and we can highlight if one area is a little bit stiffer than the other. So we're going to come into extended toe hook hip extension, but I'm going to do it with a modification on the knee because we're focusing upon hip area rather than hamstrings. Okay, so bit of balancing required here. If you're a little bit wobbly on one leg, have your bottom slightly resting against a wall, or you can hold on to a wall or the back of a chair. So you're going to start with your right foot anchored into the floor. I always put my hand on my waist as a bit of extra support. Now bend your left knee up towards the center line and hold on to that knee. Now if your hamstrings are very flexible, extend your leg here and hook your toe, but your leg needs to be very straight and above horizontal. So I'm going to do a modification here to highlight hip area. Take that knee out to the side as far as it will go. Now it is tough to balance. You may well have seen this in our balancing series. Breathe. Now see if you can take the arm out. Well done. So you're trying to open up that hip. If you are resting against a wall, your right butt cheek should be touching the wall, and also that left knee. Well done. Your dristy is on something fixed. Little movements are fine. All those stabilizing muscles in your ankle fighting to keep you upright. And remember, balancing poses creates mental focus. Trying to focus to stay upright. Okay, we come out with the same grace we went in. Hand on the waist, knee to the midline, and stand. Paddle those feet, hot ankles. Okay, so we have the other side. Okay, so left foot stays on the floor. Engage your bounders, bring the knee up. So again, you can have a toe hook if you wish. Remember, if your instructor gives you a modification and they're doing it, it's normally a good shout. Okay, out to the side. So opening up the hip. Breathe. You can rest on a wall. Remember your bum cheek and that open hip. The knee needs to touch. Take the hand off the hip if you're able. And breathe. Try and find the stillness in this balancing pose. Your hips will be hot. Remember, an emotional area to work upon. Not everybody's favourite, but we definitely need to do it. Hand on the waist. Knee back to the midline and stand. Excellent, well done. Paddle those feet. Good work. Okay, we're now going to come into a yogi squat. Now I'm sure you will be au fait with squats in the gym or within your sessions. This is a little bit different because we're focusing upon opening up the hips. Okay, Balakonasana it is called. So I'm going to do it from the side so you can see the angle of my back, because especially with tight back muscles you end up having a bit of a curve. So you want your feet turned out. Remember, your kneecaps and your toes always follow the same direction. If you do it long ways on your mat, a good little guide is having your toes just lipped over the edge of your mat. Now, especially for guys, you will find your heels will be off the floor, okay? It's just the makeup of your hip position, of your pelvis position. But see how you go. We're going to squat down. Take the knees out, follow the big toes all the way down. Palms together, all the way. So you can see the angle of my spine. If I show you from the front, what I'm doing with my hands, your palms are together and you're pushing your elbows on the knees, okay? Now this pose is tight on the hips. You will definitely feel it. Try and get that chest open. You're pushing your palms together. This aids digestion as well as being beneficial for your hips. If you find your heels aren't on the floor, it is an area we can work towards. This should be a comfortable seated position or squat position. You should be able to hold it. And with increased yoga practice, you will find your hip mobility will definitely increase, and you will find this will be more achievable. You can sometimes rock side to side. I've seen people doing that if their heels are off the floor. Think about that chest. We're just holding it for a couple more moments. Well done. Now relax the hands. Use your fingertips to get your body off the floor. Walk the feet back to the center line and slowly stand. Awesome. Okay. Now another hip flexor stretch does involve a little bit of balance, but it's a really fun move, okay? So it starts off as a quadricep stretch that you might have recognized within the gym world. You can use a wall or back of a chair to help you balance, okay? So your left foot is going to stay super glued to the floor. You're going to take your right foot to the hand and keep your knees together. So from the front, your legs should be squished together, okay? Now I've got very tight legs today because I've been running. So your knee needs to be towards the floor. If it's forward, definitely have tight quadriceps, tight hip flexors. Try and get that knee towards the ground. Nice straight line with the body. Well done. So we're now going to move on. Push your foot into your hand and then start to tilt the body. Keep the hip down. Remember the hip torches. Your right hip is coming towards the floor. Don't twist, and you're pushing. Balance if you need to. Try and get that thigh parallel with the floor, pushing into that back hand, and breathe. Slowly reverse and release. Just paddle those feet. Well done. Okay, King Dancer can be tricky, but it is accessible to all. So you can hold on to a wall or back of a chair, start with a quadricep stretch, start making a little space between the heel and the bum cheek. So, delay tactics until we get to this side. So, foot to hand and then bring that knee down. So remember, nice straight line. If your chest was against the wall, you want that knee down to the floor. You want your thigh on that wall. Well done. So lovely quadricep stretch. We're going to increase it. Foot to hand. And then start. Look forward. Push your foot into the hand. Now if you can balance, you can take your arm out front, make the okay sign. If you want to hold on to something, then do so. Think about that back leg. Your thigh is parallel with the floor. Breathe. Well done. Slowly release. Stand. Amazing. Be nice to your legs Okay, we're going to have a vinyasa all the way through. Okay, acknowledge how much your body has improved during this session, how much extra mobility perhaps you have in your hips you've given yourselves. So short edge of the mat. Okay, let's breathe in, raise up, big deep breath in. Exhale, fold forward, hands onto the floor, feet back. So you should find that stride back feels a little bit easier now. High plank position or knees to the ground, lower the chest, toes together, upward dog. Relax the shoulders, toes tucked under, bottoms up, downward dog. So we're going to have a bit of active recovery in downward dog. Okay, now look forward, step forward, and slowly raise. Awesome. Okay, now we're going to come down into a reclined position now. Okay, so you're going to lay on your back. Okay, so your head needs to be on the floor. I'm just going to look up so my microphone stays where it is. So your feet now are currently on the floor. You're going to take your left foot onto the right thigh and then open up. Now your toe must go towards your knee, so just bring the foot towards that kneecap. Now your hands are going to reach behind this right thigh, bring the foot off the floor, and you're going to pull it towards you. Keep that head down. Well done. So this is reclined pigeon, and to finish we're going to do the pigeon the other way up, and you'll be able to feel the difference, bit of extra gravity. I always give this as an option if anybody has any knee issues. Okay, release and swap sides. Toe to knee, and then grab that left leg, pull it towards you, head back. Okay, now release. Hug your knees into your chest. Now bring the chin up. Your spine needs to be a circle. Okay, we're going to start rocking and rolling, forward and backwards. It's called the wind releasing pose. Helps digestion. Roll up, touch and back. Bit of momentum helps. This is massaging the muscles either side of your spine. Finish up on your bottom, and then we're going to turn over. So start in high plank position. Okay, left knee, left wrist. This is the last bit. Okay, now push that right leg back. Foot flat and just rock side to side. Well done. Now here, if you want to stay up on your hands, you can do so. If you feel you can bring your forearms down, that is the second option, or take the chest all the way to the floor. You can feel that stretch within that hip area. It's also touching on the hamstrings, and relax. So it's one of the restorative poses. A lot of hip stretches are within restorative yoga poses because you need to take your time to get there, and they are also normally a really tight area to work upon. Now your left butt cheek is close to the floor, so push back and left. Swing the right leg around. You're in then that cross-legged position. Hands in front. This is just a bit of a funky position. Don't turn yourself into pretzels. So hands again in front. Take those legs back into plank. And now we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So right knee, right wrist. Your shin is as close to 45 degrees as it can be, and push that left leg back. So again, rock side to side. You can acknowledge that tightness that we're working upon. We're taking our time to strengthen and lengthen. Forearms or chest, doesn't matter which. And bring the chest down if you can. The last couple of breaths. Okay, now your right bum cheek is close to the floor, so push back and right. Swing the left leg round in that cross-legged position. Sit with your hands on your knees. Hopefully this cross-legged position feels a little bit more comfortable when we first started. Take a moment to acknowledge the hard work your body has done for you in today's session. And we're going to draw our hands up towards the sky. Palms together, heart center, namaste. So the namaste is to thank your body and your mind for its hard work in today's session. Be gentle on those hips. Please take modifications along the way. Don't bounce into anything, and make sure you're warmed up to begin with. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.